This is Hermit of the Woods. This is the beginning.
There's a place along the water where the speed limit is raised. It's a gravel hill that climbs up through trees to cascade under cover of these fall color smothering waves. It's in a wasted space, living through the last of its days. This is the Lazarus stage.
My name is Mike McGuire, aka Hermit of the Woods. I'm an audio engineer, slam poet, hip-hop artist, rap producer, part-time art thief, community practitioner, rapidemic scholar, and advocate for all things funky.
He's like a kind of crazy kid in a dream. And he thinks he's invisible. And he's marching along through a dry forest. And he is lighting matches, dropping, watching the fires, dropping another one.
Smoldering.
I'm a hermit of the woods.
Got the throat with that.
You hear that?
Yeah.
I'm rhyming, so I'll do double timing, cause I find that when I'm refined I gotta get in line, and I'm not retiring anytime soon. I bring the boom and the bap with the original raps. I never spit the crap, I'ma slow it right down. Y'all can do the groove. I'll bring it back like, yeah, I thought you knew. This is old school. I've been doing this since 78. My stacks of wax, they sit deep in the crates.
You guys finish up that album yet? Close. Eric sent me 2 beats in the last 2 days that he's completely redone. He and Bert had a big falling out. Tattoos in and of themselves are somewhat rebellious. I mean, not as much as they used to be. Yeah, it's sort of a tribute to Hunter Thompson and his double-thumbed gonzo fist. And then the quote on it is from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. He was talking about Dr. Gonzo. He said he's God's own creation, not even considered for mass production, too weird to live and too rare to die. The thing about Hunter Thompson and his whole gonzo style of journalism was that rather than just reporting on a story, he put himself into the middle of it, and he became the story, and he kind of lived through it. And the story became his own experience through it. So I've always kind of liked that in the sense of, you know, go out and get into the middle of some shit. And be involved in it and be part of the story rather than just talking about what other people are doing.
Hip-hop has been a subcultural phenomenon since it began in the Bronx in the 70s. Today, it's recognized as a universal form of expression. But with this universal acceptance came the commercialization of the genre, which led to the diluted, superficial acts so prominent in the mainstream today. As a result, university classes on the sociology of hip-hop have been dismissed by many as a lower form of academia. Despite this, conscious artists such as Ninth Wonder, KRS-One, and GZA of the Wu-Tang Clan continue to push for the acceptance of hip-hop in the world of education. Hermit is a rock and roll history TA at Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia. He both recognizes and embraces hip-hop's educational potential.
Music is a wonderful thing, and you can learn things through music, but at the same time, I'm aware of the fact that music in and of itself isn't enough. When I was in high school, I was not a very good student. I didn't take it very seriously and spent about half of my time not being in classrooms. And my history teacher especially didn't care for me one bit. And I was told in September of one year, you're not a history student. Do not ever take history again. You're not going to ever succeed in that. And I didn't listen to him. And thankfully so, because I've gone on to do 2 history degrees. I started reading books by people like Trisha Rose and Michael Eric Dyson. And I started realizing that there was kind of an academic rap thing going on in the U.S. So I got into university on a completely different tip. I told them I wanted to explore the origins of Nova Scotian identity through the tourist trade, and they let me in. And then once they had me, I threw a curveball at them and said, okay, no, this is what I really want to write about. I wanted to write about rap music and hip-hop culture. So I came up initially with the idea of writing about kind of representations of self and of kind of regionalism. So the idea that in rap music you talk about your own experiences, you talk about your own set of kind of cultural awarenesses, and you talk about where you're from. Then you incorporate your own local stuff. So records that you can get here are what you would use to produce things, and the references you would make to things in lyrics would be your own neighborhood and your own issues. And if you're not doing that, you're doing something weird. So representing where you're from is kind of a big factor, and Nova Scotia having such a rich hip-hop community that goes back to the mid-'80s, there was just a lot of stories to tell and a lot of things that were kind of uniquely Haligonian and uniquely Nova Scotian that were worth telling. Nobody was going to tell these stories otherwise. And kind of introducing the idea of rap academics to the area, because nobody wanted to touch it prior to that. But it was in '94 that things kind of started changing, and I would say that starts with the release of Trailer Park Hip Hop from Hip Club Groove. And they talked about being from Truro. They talked about the fact that they were still awesome despite being from such an out-of-the-way place. In terms of getting out into the community and things, I started off earlier on with Eric. We started doing a lot of workshops. We did some talks for Oxfam. We worked with youth, and we would go and talk about rap music, and we'd go and we'd talk about social justice and how the two intertwined, and how conflict resolution can be achieved through breakdance battles or, freestyle ciphers or things like that, and that battling has a component. And then just the history of hip-hop and how it kind of grew out of a place where there was no opportunities, and you can do this stuff just on your own. I mean, Eric and I can stand there with just the two of us on a street corner and make a lot of good music. But you have to be able to get out and actually do things like that.
Live in the middle of winter and vision and making a difference in visible wizard of lyrical principles, pushing the pendulum into the critical elaborator. I eat, sleep, breathing, rise above my city with the fire of a phoenix. Yeah. Representing I am.
The most profound things I've ever come across was from Carl Sagan, his whole speech about the pale blue dot. And this was a photograph that was taken when this satellite flew out to the edge of the solar system. They had it turn around and take a photograph, and it was this, they called it a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. And he said, everything that has happened on this little speck of dust is things that we consider significant. And I like that because it gives perspective. He talks about, the wars that have been fought and the blood that's been shed and all those things. All of it on this little dot, which makes it seem so insignificant. But at the same time, I think that makes it all extremely significant because, this life is kind of all we've got, and what are you going to do with it? I like rap music. I like hip-hop culture. So I'm going to try to be involved in that in any way that I can and make it significant in my own life, because there's no rules that says that it can't be that. Om is said to be the sound of the universe, that high-pitched buzzing you get when there's absolutely no noise whatsoever.